And, okay, so the alabaster jar. As we know, this, maybe you don't know, there's a whole lot of different stories. I gotta get adjusted with the glasses because you look a little far when I look this way, but the words look very good when I look this way. But there's a lot of different accounts, so I just kind of want to give you a summary of accounts with this. There are 4 settings. We have the Gospels, and the story, if you look at it, it's very confusing in the sense that there's a lot of different things that might make you think that there's one story or a lot of multiple different stories going on, meaning more than just one woman, a different time and everything. So we're going to go through some things. It says, all 4 have a setting in a house, from a meal, a woman, an expensive perfume poured on Jesus, to which someone objects. That we know. Locations, all except Luke identifies Bethany. House of a host, Matthew and Mark say in the house of Simon the leper. John does not offer a definite host or house. Luke says the house of a Pharisee named Simon. Description of a woman. John identifies Mary of Bethany. Luke, a woman in that time who lived a sinful life, which has usually been taken to mean a prostitute. Matthew and Mark just say a woman. Wear poured over the head according to Mark and Matthew, or feet according to John and Luke. Wiping with hair mentioned in both accounts, given feet. Jesus' commands, Matthew, Mark, John, are very similar, recording slightly different wordings of the pour you will always have with you as she poured the perfume on my body before for burial. These are not in Luke, who instead comments on hospitality and forgiveness of sin that are not in other accounts. So it could be confusing because there's a lot of stuff going on in the different accounts, okay? Writers may have different, because we gotta take it as, I can tell you a story, and as another person says it, and another person's, the details change, okay? But one thing is not gonna change is that we know that there was a woman that came with a jar, right? That there was sinfulness, that there were those that were spectators that criticized, right? And that there was Jesus. And that's what we're going to concentrate on, okay? Because I don't know like how deep you got, but I got as deep in all these things, and they became really like, wow, I didn't know all this, okay? Because you want to bring accurateness and you want to be able to express that story. But, like I said, it doesn't matter, because at the end, what are we focusing on, right? It's what we want to focus. Whether there was 2 incidents that happened, whether one was married, whether one was a sinful woman, doesn't matter. Because what the account is that this took place, that it was done unto Jesus. Okay? Let's talk a little bit about the alabaster flask. Jar, box, whatever you want to call it, same thing again. You can have all these different names to it, same meaning. Okay? It says it was an expensive clay jar that was used to carry oil or perfume, and it was crafted by the best craftsmen, and it was very expensive to buy. The only way to open the flask in those days was to break it open. The jar was broken or the seal was broken. Another thing for you to think. Either way, it was broken. As we break or we can rip a tag, it's a matter of language, meaning the same. You following me? Okay? The alabaster jar had a seal on top of it that would be very expensive material of the day. The jar had a lid which was closed by a seal. Sometimes the seal had a small piece of cloth, such as linen or cotton, over the opening of the jar. Then the lid was placed over it, and next came the seal. Sometimes the seal was covered with wax or twine, so that the lid would stay on firm, thus allowing the integrity of its content to remain intact. Okay, my thing, I believe that the seal which was broken, so that the perfume will be poured out. So I don't believe the jar was broken. I believe it was the seal that was broken. Okay? Because I don't think glass would have been poured over a master's feet. Now, that's mine. I said, like a pastor, you could think or you could make your own, but I feel that that's what was broken, was the seal of it. So let's go. Later on, when you're home, you will study Matthew 26, Luke 7, Mark 14, and John 12, because all these give different accounts of the story we are about to talk. So now, we enter into the women and anointing and expressive perfume. and a protest. A proud-hearted Pharisee, a broken-hearted sinner, and a loving-hearted Savior. Okay, I'm going to touch on three things. The three things of the demonstration of abundant love. The don't spectate, participate. Paulina, you kind of talked a little bit about that before. And the beauty of worship. Okay. As she broke the jar, she showed her brokenness in her life and her desire to be broken for the Lord. There is an aspect of an aroma to the brokenness that has not yet been understood by this generation, and I truly believe that. And it's that concerning the wholehearted worship. Brokenness is not a bad word. Sometimes you think, oh, what is it saying about me, that I'm a mess? It's not, because without that breaking of that jar, there is no anointing. Without the anointing, there is very little or no fragrance. And our alabaster worship is a breaking, opening of our heart. By her giving her most precious possession, she showed much love for our Lord. It says her alabaster jar contained precious ointment that was worth a year's wage. I want to stop there because I wondered, how did this woman get this money? How did this woman get this money? I had two things. I said, it could have been a woman that was very rich and had it. I went as far, and this is me thinking, she was a prostitute. Who was to say that a worthy man did not pay her in an expensive perfume? Okay? Whichever way she got it, that's my theory. It's like, doesn't matter, but she had that perfume. And she had it for a purpose, and she held it for a purpose. And we'll go on and we'll understand more of that. It costs us something. True worship has a cost to it. Following Jesus has a price. She didn't care that worship involved sacrifice, for she gave all she had to Jesus. She gave her treasured possessions, her valuable perfume. She gave herself to show her heart love for the Master. By bowing before his feet, she showed humility by bowing before his feet. Washing with the tears. I loved it because when I was looking at this, your hair, right? They talked about his feet and her hair. The hair in that, what they called it was what? The what of the woman? The glory.
The glory.
The glory of the woman. Which means it was very precious to the woman. Just as that jar of perfume was precious to the woman, and it has so much value, right? She didn't have anything else to wipe his feet with. But it was okay, because that's how God intended it. Because with her glory, she wiped. Okay? With her glory. What does glory signify? Come on, Pastor. I know you already see your priest already, He likes when I get those little nuggets, he's like, because I myself, I'm like, Lord, continue to deposit. And then I was like, God, so not only the jar was precious, because we also got a jar, but how precious that she used her glory. And then, my God, because I'm telling you, it was just depositing. I was like, what? It says that then there were the tears. She used the tears to what?
To wash. Wash his feet.
Psalms 56:8 says, you keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded all of them in your book. How precious are our tears unto God. So tell me three things right there already that God, that was so amazing. That not only was I concentrating just on that job, but as I'm thinking and I'm going deeper in that, that's why I tell you, this, Lord, you're just feeding this church, where it says, and let me tell you, we're not talking short, Lord, whatever. Your glory. And I'm going to go with it. Your glory. This is your glory. You understand? You can put your head on his feet and just wipe it. You understand? With your glory. With those tears, those precious tears that sometimes we're just so burdened and we're like, oh my God, and I'm like nothing, and I'm worth nothing. Those precious tears you wash his feet with. I was like, oh Lord, man, this is deep stuff. This is seeing a story in a whole different way. So you can understand why then when you start seeing this, you understand more. You understand the concept like, wow, Lord. And I got to tell you, take every nugget you have, and when you go home, study it more. Because out of what you study, you're going to learn so much more. And he's going to take you so much more. Because he's just amazing. Because I was like, oh my God. And I got to tell you that this part of it, this part right now, today, he deposited in me today. Because you know, you do those reviews and reviews and reviews. And I can say, so why the hair? Why the hair? Okay, she didn't have, you know, nothing. I didn't give her nothing, whatever. And then it was like, wow, no, God just said, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. And I stay amazed because I'm reading books where God is revealing stuff to men as they write these books, and they're powerful stuff. And I says, Lord, what about us? And all we got to do is just put ourselves in God's hand, and God will start revealing and depositing things in us that we're going to see his word like we never saw it before.